after.
The murder sentence on British au pair Louise Woodward is reduced to manslaughter. More than 2,000 jobs for Cork and Galway as Boston Scientific confirms a major expansion. And bank accounts controlled by the Filoni crime family are frozen by the courts. Good evening, welcome to 6-1. Also on the programme, a second Dublin criminal to give evidence against his former associates under the new witness protection programme.
A Belfast man is deported from New Zealand after he surrenders to armed police following a 10-hour siege in Auckland. And in motorsport, the Williams and McLaren teams are summoned to a meeting over allegations they rigged the European results.
But first, the Taoiseach has said the decision by US multinational Boston Scientific to create more than 2,000 new to pass a new sentence on her in 2 hours' time after reducing her murder conviction to one of involuntary manslaughter. Louise Woodward was sentenced to life in prison last month when a jury in Massachusetts found her guilty of murdering the baby in her care, 8-month-old Matthew Eapen. But overturning the verdict today, the judge said she had not acted with malice, and to let the original conviction stand would be a miscarriage of justice. Involuntary manslaughter carries a maximum sentence of 20 years, but unlike murder, has no minimum sentence.
For almost a week, the fate of Louise Woodward has been in the hands of Judge Hilaire Zobel. This morning, he arrived at the Cambridge courthouse to deliver his long-awaited judgment. Technical problems delayed the release of the decision on the internet, but the message from his 16-page judgment was clear and simple. The judge decided not to acquit Louise Woodward or order a new trial, but he did reduce the charge against her to involuntary manslaughter. The 19-year-old nanny had been convicted of second-degree murder and faced life imprisonment. She could not have applied for parole until she was 34. The judge's decision changes all that. Judge Hilaire Zobel's deliberations are not over just yet. At a court hearing this evening, he must decide on the appropriate sentence for Louise Woodward. Under Massachusetts law, the charge of manslaughter carries with it a maximum sentence of 20 years. But the judge is certain to impose a much lighter jail term. And there is the possibility that he may set Louise Woodward free, having taken into account the time she has already spent in prison. But such a decision would certainly meet opposition from the family of Matthew Eapen. This morning, their spokesman gave a mixed reaction to the judge's decision.
The Eapens firmly believe that this was a second-degree murder case and that the jury's verdict should have been respected. At the same time, I think it's very important that people understand that Sonny and Debbie are not in control here. They want justice for their son, and we hope that we found it here. This afternoon is going to be crucial in terms of what happens at sentencing. Louise Woodward is responsible for Matthew's death, and she needs to be held accountable for that.
Louise Woodward must wait a few more hours for the final decision in this case, but there's no guarantee that it will end the controversy which has surrounded this legal drama.
Among those waiting anxiously for the sentencing hearing later today are supporters and campaigners in Louise Woodward's hometown in England.
In the local pub in Louise Woodward's home village of Elton in Cheshire, the reaction to this afternoon's news was understandably muted. Campaigners had been waiting, watching live TV coverage of the case as well as monitoring developments on the internet. But they'll have to wait another couple of hours to find out whether or not Louise will be freed today. She could still face a lengthy jail sentence for manslaughter.
We take some comfort from Judge Zobel's decision to reduce the charge. We firmly believe, as we've always believed, totally in Louise's innocence. This campaign will continue until Louise comes home. We want to thank everyone from the bottom of our hearts for all their hard work, and we trust in your continuing faith in this campaign.
And while these campaigners want to see Louise totally cleared of all blame for the death of baby Matthew, there's also support from the au pair agency which placed her with the Eapen family.
Although the manslaughter charge lessens the harshness of the murder conviction, we believe justice will only truly be served by Louise's full vindication. We will continue to do everything we can to help her fight to clear her name.
People here are taking some comfort from the fact that Louise Woodward will not now have to face a life sentence. but they're not celebrating yet.
Bank accounts containing more than